We're live.
Good evening. We'd like to welcome you today to the candidate forum for the Peoria City Council Districts 4 and 5. But before we start, I would like to introduce Reverend Deborah Avery from the United Presbyterian Church.
Thank you, Connie. We want to just welcome you here. We're so glad to be able to be available to the community for events like this. Please wander around, take a look. We have a table here with information about the church, but this isn't an opportunity to proselytize you. We are very engaged politically. We're very engaged in social justice concerns, so it's important to us. Elections are important to us. So I just want to welcome you. I'm really, really glad that you're here and hope that you learn a lot today.
Thank you, Reverend Avery. I'm Connie Romanis, the president of the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria, and would like to welcome you to the candidate forum. And today we'll be hearing from District 4 candidates, Andre Allen and Jamie Messmore, and District 5 candidates, Dennis Sear and Hind Abi-Akar. League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization, and we endorse no candidates or political parties. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government. Providing this forum allows citizens to become better informed about the issues facing the community and become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We are happy to provide this service for the community, and the League of Women Voters has been providing this for many years throughout the country. The League of Women Voters is not responsible for verifying the accuracy of the statements that the candidates make at this forum. The League does take positions on issues after an in-depth study. Certainly, once a specific position is taken, it may appear partisan to some because they don't necessarily agree with the position taken. But again, the League never takes sides on positions nor endorse candidates without, and especially the positions without a study. The League is a membership organization of men and women. We're only as strong as our members, so if you're not a member, consider joining us. We hope you will walk away from this forum with more knowledge about these candidates and their positions. Providing voter education is a major part of what the League does. You can view this forum and others by going to YouTube, our YouTube channel, League of Women Voters, Greater Peoria, for more information about voting and positions on candidates. The Illinois Voter Guide is often participates with candidates in some of the local elections. We may not be as robust, so that's something you can check on. Remember to vote April 1st. Early voting is going on now. Mail-in voting or go in person. So please get out and vote. Right now, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Terry Bible Knight.
Thank you, Connie. Appreciate it.
One quick thing. If you have a question, please write it on a card. And there are people out in the back with cards.
Okay. My personal thanks to the United Presbyterian Church for making this space available, to the League of Women Voters for putting this on, and especially all the candidates, the people here who help make it happen. It's rare to happen anymore that candidates make themselves available personally. So I want to thank the 4 people up here for volunteering for public service and for showing up to meet you in person. Thank you. So you guys, you can applaud now for 1 second and then I'll tell you. Okay, now, because among the rules, please turn off all cell phones if you have them on now. And from here on out, until we're completely done, please do not applaud. That takes time away from the candidates answering questions. We have a lot of questions. We have 4 candidates, so our time is going to be at a premium. Part of the rules here. The candidates have 2 minutes for their opening statements. Each of them will have 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds to answer each question as they come up. We'll rotate who answers the questions first. Okay, each candidate will also have 1 minute for a closing statement. Okay, I believe our first candidate is Jamie Messmore. Okay, she got the privilege, they draw by cards to do this. And at the end of our time, I believe it will be Hind Abi-Akar. Messed that up, sorry, Hind Akar, who will be able to do the last one. Okay, more of the structure. We have timers to ensure that this happens properly. Timers, will you wave your paddles so people know where you are? Okay, and I'll be in charge of this and enforcing your time limit. We may not be able to use all the questions. We'll try as best we can. Sometimes questions can be combined or they're repetitive, so put them together and try to get to as many as possible. All the candidates, or each question will be able to be answered by all candidates. So don't write a question. If you're writing a question, we encourage you to do so, but don't write it to one particular candidate. It goes to all four. And candidates, if you want the question repeated, please ask. Okay, we'll want it to be clear. We want to give everybody the amount of time they can have. Okay, is everybody ready? All right, first question. Can you tell us what your qualifications are and why you are running for this office? Jamie, that goes to you first.
Are we doing this instead of the intro?
Oh, excuse me. I am so sorry. She caught me. No,
didn't
Jamie,
wanna
you get to
interrupt
start
your-
with your 2-minute intro.
Thank
My
you.
apologies. Jumping right in.
Thank you for being here today and thank you for having me. I'm at the point in my life where my experience, skills, and proven track record can be of real value to Peoria City Council. I chose Peoria as the place to raise my family because it's more than just where we live, it's a community worth fighting for. We have endless potential here. But right now, Peoria is at a crossroads. It's time to get back to basics. Safer neighborhoods, better roads, and policies that attract and retain our businesses. As the largest female business owner running for City Council, I have built a reputation for turning around struggling businesses, cutting inefficiencies, and driving real growth. When my family bought our first franchise, my youngest child was just a baby, and we had less than $200 in our bank account. But through hard work, late nights, and relentless focus, we grew that business by 525%. I bring that same discipline, determination, and results-driven leadership to Peoria City Council. A thriving, growing Peoria depends on smart decisions, strong leadership, and consistent, high-quality results, and that's exactly what I will deliver. When it comes to District 4, there's a lot of work to be done. I have a proven track record of rolling up my sleeves and getting to work. The voters deserve this kind of leadership. Together, we can build a safer, stronger Peoria, a city where families want to stay, businesses want to grow, and opportunity thrives. So let's get back to basics and do it better.
I'm like sweating on this, Andre.
Thank you. Andre?
Good morning, everyone. First off, I want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters, Greater Peoria chapter for your commitment to civic and voter engagement for our community. Thank you to the congregation here at the United Presbyterian Church and Reverend Avery for hosting us today. My name is Andre W. Allen, and I serve as your 4th District Peoria City Councilman. I've been in this role the past 4 years, and what's the old adage, time flies when you're having fun, but I like to tweak that a little bit and say time flies when you love what you do. And I love being in this position. And it's not because we get invited to a lot of events with grilled chicken and miscellaneous vegetables, but it's because Peoria is personal to me. I'm a lifelong Peorian, graduated from Richwoods High School right up the road here. Many times when I get off the phone with constituents voicing their concerns about a pothole or a speeding concern or tall grass or a dog that's been barking all night, yes, we get all of those calls in this position. We leave with, wow, you went to high school with my son. You know my daughter. Or my dad, who was one of 12, who grew up here in the Peoria area, they say, oh, I know your mom and them. That's what this position's about. It's about bringing accessibility and connectivity to the Peoria City Council. We've had several accomplishments in my term. When I think about what we've done, strengthening our neighborhoods, providing $110,000 worth of neighborhood mini grants to our homeowner and neighborhood associations. When I think about what we've done in economic development, bringing businesses like Aquatox, Academy Sports and Outdoor, Tilted 10 to the Northwoods Mall. Recently, we just announced that Raising Cane's will be coming to District 4 as well. I think about the accessibility that I brought to this position. I launched a series called Coffee with Constituents that meets on the first Thursday of the month. We've had over 40 meetings during my first term, really bringing information and knowledge sharing to the constituents of District 4. I look forward to answering the questions today. And I also want to shout out all candidates that are running for elected office. It's a labor of love, but we need more engagement from our constituents. Thank you.
Touch that.
Oh, you got your own mic.
Dennis?
Thank you, Andre. Thank you, League of Women Voters, and thank you, Connie, for putting on this event today. It's great to be part of this. My name's Dennis Sear. I'm a two-term councilman for the 5th District, and it's a privilege for me to ask my constituent for a 3rd term. Now, a little bit of my background. I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. I used to be a professional hockey player and married a young lady from Messmore. Unfortunately, we were married for 34 years and lost her a few years ago. But I got 2 daughters right here, and I've been a businessman in Peoria for 40 years, and I've been a financial advisor for 29 years. So I think my background is very well suited for being the councilman in the 5th District, and I'll let my record speak for itself today. And we will, or I will, talk about my record a little bit later. But I'm very proud of my record, and really the people ask me all the time, what is the proudest achievement you have for the 5th District? For me, it's been the relationship I've built over the last 8 years with all kinds of people in the 5th District and the city of Peoria. And you'll see a little bit later, I'll talk about who's endorsing me, and I'm just proud to be part of this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. Last September, I celebrated my 20th anniversary of becoming an American on September 3rd, and I'm also really proud of that. So I'm here to stay, and I'm here to serve, and I think I've served my district and my community really well the last 8 years, and I'm asking my constituents to vote for me again so I can serve the 5th District again in the city in a way that just want to keep the project I've started over the last 8 years, just keep improving. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. And good morning, everyone, and thank you for the league. And thanks for everyone who is here and listening to us. Local elections matter, and I am here asking for your vote. For the past 30 years, I have been working in Peoria as a scientist in Caterpillar and raising my 2 daughters with my husband, Ramiz. We are Lebanese American. Throughout this time, I have been always involved in the community and in various organizations, social and scientific. And for the past year, I have been going to the city council meetings, and I have been observing the city council. And definitely they have faced critical issues, from gun violence, the heartbreaking gun violence, to the lack of affordable housing, to the forecasted budget shortfalls, and issues like backyard chicken, which all of these take a lot of emotions. And I've noticed that not every time the issues were dealt with research or evidence-based, and that motivated me to be part of the solution. I hope to bring my experience in developing innovative solutions to real-world problems, analytical expertise, and ability to build consensus among diverse teams to the Peoria City Council. I plan to be engaged, empathetic representative for District 5, and for our all-American city of Peoria, I will focus on safety, development, and sustainable growth. And I'm asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Now we'll jump in with the questions. Okay. What I'd like each of you to answer is tell us why. What's driving you? why are you running for office, and explain why your qualifications will enable you to do well in that office. So we'll begin with Andre.
That's a great question. My why is Peoria. Growing up here, being here all my life, connecting with so many different people in this role has truly been an honor and a blessing. Like I said earlier in my opening statement, when I get calls from constituents, and they go to the website and they don't see Councilman Andre Allen. They see Trey from Sterling Middle School. They say, Andre, that I went to Richards with him, or that's Andre I went to ICC with. And my why is the Peoria people. We have amazing people in our city. My why is also my wife and 3 kids. I moved back in 2016 with her. She's from Chicago. She reminds me that we are here because of you. I still can't get her to change her area code on her cell phone to 309 yet. She's still holding on to that 773. We have our kids enrolled in Peoria Public Schools intentionally because as a proud Peoria Public Schools graduate, I want to be a part of the change and helping uplift our public school system. And so every day when I wake up and I get a chance to make an impact in my community, make changes today that will impact their future tomorrow, that is my why. When I get calls from constituents and at this level, you get to show them that government works for them because you get that pothole filled, you get that sidewalk fixed. No one's smiling when it's raining and you got a flood in front of your home. And you get that drainage issue service and they say, wow, thank you, Andre, I appreciate it. So that's my why, showing people that their government can work for them, showing people that there are elected officials that truly care and who are willing to listen. Thank you.
Dennis, your turn.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor to serve the 5th District, but when you speak about serving, I mean, it's really in your heart, and I think I got a good heart to serve my community, and I think my track record proves how much work I've done the last 8 years, from being just endorsement alone, from having the Dunlap School District Board endorse me for all the work and safety I've done for the kids and the parents in the Dunlap School District, to all the roads that we have rebuilt. And talk about infrastructure. You know, right now you look at Pioneer Parkway, and you look. My first project was Willow Knolls and Allen Road, where we redid the whole intersection, and we built sidewalks everywhere and lights everywhere. And so I'm really proud of my record. But what's the proudest thing is all the endorsement from Pure Park, from the Dunlap School District, to PAR, which is the Realtor Association, to BizBack, which is for small business. I'm definitely super pro-growth for businesses. To know we have 34 homeowner associations in the 5th District. A lot of them have endorsed me, and I'm very, very proud of it. To me, it's all about a relationship, and the list goes on and on. I mean, Local 50, the firemen have endorsed me this year for all the work I've done with them. You got labor have endorsed me this year also for all the work I've done over the last 8 years. So I'm just really proud of that, and I hope that I can serve another 4 years, but and there's a lot of things that are not finished yet that I would like to have an opportunity to finish, and I hope you vote for me on April 1st. Thank you.
Hind? Well, as I said, Peoria has been home for me for the past 30 years, and I raised my kids here. They went to schools here, and I've been very involved in the community. Probably some of you have seen me doing the science demos, the crazy scientist who goes around, whether it's Girl Scouts, whether it's Earth Day, festivals, the Park District. I am very involved. This community means so much to me. And my training as a scientist have put me in a position where I can really think about critical issues, and I can think critically and bring evidence-based solutions to difficult questions. I have worked with personnel and teams globally, and I know how to bring consensus. And I believe Peoria has tremendous opportunities to grow and potential and talent. I have worked with that talent for the past many years. I know what we have. So I am really excited to be part of this growth, to be part of the solution, to bring Peoria to prosperity, to growth, to help businesses grow and bring in new businesses. We need to grow in areas that we know the future is there, and we need to keep our optimism, our safety, and that's what I plan to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Jane?
Goodness, my why, what a, pack that into 90 seconds. But as I mentioned, my combined nonprofit and business experience have given me the skill sets for the city council. I'm a business owner in Peoria, and I worked over a decade in non-for-profit. I have 2 children here, and I have not been extremely pleased in the trajectory of our city. I was born and raised in the Quad Cities on the Illinois side, and if anybody has been to the Quad Cities lately, it is a very interesting place to see the difference between a place that is economically thriving and a place that is not. So it's really sad for me to go home and see the Illinois side of the Quad Cities in such blight, and the Iowa side attracting, retaining businesses. And I don't want to see that happen to Peoria. I want to make Peoria a destination and not a departure point. I want my children to be able to come back here and have a place that they're proud of and are not constantly looking for somewhere else to go. As a taxpayer, we are the highest taxed city in the nation, and the city has got to stop using us as their personal piggy bank. And so I look forward to sitting at the table to have some of those conversations on how we can make Peoria more attractive for businesses and families in a place where they want to stay.
Thank you. All right, our second question. You're running for district office, but you're part of a citywide team. So please, if you tell us, what are the biggest issues, in your opinion, that currently face the city of Peoria, and how you will help to resolve those issues? That starts with Dennis.
Dennis? Thank you for the question. Well, again, I go back to what I've done the last 8 years. I've been part of many solutions over the last 8 years. I mean, our city of Peoria is no different than any other cities in the United States. I mean, we've got 3 things that are, the main 3 things that are very important to people. Safety, right? We all want growth, business growth, and we want better infrastructure. I mean, this is the challenges of the 5th district. It's also the challenges of the whole city. And I have demonstrated over the last 8 years how much progress. We have made a lot of progress, and not just for me. Okay, I give credit to the whole council. Okay, we have a team of people that we've worked together the last 8 years to improve city of Peoria, and I think we've done a great job. And hopefully we can keep on doing the same thing. But it's a team. My background, like I said, I used to be a professional hockey player. Everywhere I've been successful in my life, I've been part of the team. As long as we have a good team around the horseshoe and people can communicate and make decisions together and do what's best for the city and not for us individually, we're going to keep on making progress. But it's important for me, it's important people know that first, I have to represent the people of the 5th district first. And second, then I represent the people of the city of Peoria. Thank you very much.
And the safety and security should come first as a priority for Peoria, because if you are living in a safe, secure environment, you will grow, you will thrive, you will bring businesses. So we need to look at the issues that we have, experienced as a city, like the violence. We need to stem those issues. And I think that Peoria is on the right trajectory in doing that. There are plans that are working and the violence is going down. But again, we need to thrive. In order for us to thrive, we have to bring new businesses, but we have also to retain the businesses we have and grow them. And we can use our incentives, and we have really good plan and incentives for businesses. We need to connect the businesses to that so that we can grow. And we need to keep it. The infrastructure should remain also strong. The city it's a beautiful city. We need to keep it beautiful and environmentally also responsible. And so fiscal responsibility, we need to make sure that people are confident that the city is using our tax dollars effectively, every dollar of it. Thank you.
Jamie.
Could you repeat that question one more time?
Certainly. Okay. What are the biggest issues currently facing the city of Peoria, in your opinion, and how would you resolve those issues?
Absolutely. Peoria is losing businesses due to high taxes and excessive regulations, which means fewer jobs, declining property values, and weakened city services, which is a really scary thought, because we know that when our businesses struggle, our neighborhoods suffer, and city revenue starts to dry up, and that'll lead to cuts in essential services like schools, roads, and public safety. So a weaker economy in Peoria is going to result in a weaker Peoria, and that's a big issue that I see. Peoria's economy thrives when we focus on the fundamentals, keeping taxes low, reducing bureaucratic barriers, and creating an environment where businesses can start, grow, and succeed. And so it's really time for us to get back to basics and what the city council was designed to do and make Peoria a city that works for businesses, not against them at every turn. And I think that by returning to those common sense pro-business policies, we can build a stronger Peoria that fosters innovation, supports job creators, and ensures our long-term economic stability to help us get back to basics and back to business.
Thank you.
When I first got elected, one of my mentors told me there's two things that people care about: that the trash comes on time, and that you got police officers to arrest the bad guys. And that's a metaphor for keeping the main thing, focused on basic core services. And that's what I prided myself on in my first term as Peoria City Council. Because I think it's very important that our constituents are understanding that we're focusing on basic core services, including our first responders are fully funded, ensuring that we are filling the potholes, we're addressing sidewalk concerns, we are keeping the main thing. But one of the biggest issues that's going to be facing the city of Peoria, and we've done a good job during my previous term, we've had balanced budgets. We haven't implemented any new taxes or any new fees. In fact, we sunsetted the public pension parcel fee my first year being on the city council, providing some tax relief to our residents. But the budget will always be a big issue for us because as expenses continue to grow, we only have so many revenue generating levers. And so that is a challenge for us. Public safety will always be a challenge in our community. Although we are statistically safer as far as crime is concerned, and we have 20 homicides in 2024, 20 too many, but that's a pre-pandemic number. But if you don't feel that, then the stats don't matter. The recent homicide that just happened earlier this week, I went to middle school with that young man. He was a good guy. And so I understand that we have to continue to keep working to make our city safe. So those are some of the priorities that I think will be continued in my second term and some of the biggest issues and ways that I feel that we'll address them. Thank you.
Thank you. Third question. What are your personal top three priorities? And Hind, I believe we start with you.
Yes.
I certainly, this is the first time for me running for office, so I have given that a lot of thought. And I research it because that's what I do. I research things and look in depth into what's working, what's not. My top three priorities are enhancing public safety to secure environment for all, a thriving environment for all residents, improving community business relationships, investing in crime prevention, and addressing critical issues like truancy and violence, because these are the basis for a whole lot of issues that we suffer from. Second is fostering economic development that benefits local businesses and attracts new ones. We need to expand our tax base. And this is what expands our tax base, bringing new businesses, have our businesses thriving. This is what the community stands on the shoulders of these businesses. And we need to make quality of life, enhance it so that we can attract businesses and people. The third thing is promoting sustainable growth and fiscal responsibility. And we need to grow our learning environment, train the workforce, and we have excellent programs that are going there, and we have to ensure that we have a revitalized and urban development.
Thank you. Jamie, you're up.
Absolutely. Three main things that I'm focused on are our roads and infrastructure, public safety, and then growing and attracting new businesses and retaining the businesses we do have, which is a tall order. First thing, talking about roads. Our roads and infrastructure are in abysmal shape for the taxes that we pay. As a residential and commercial property owner who's deeply invested in this community, absolutely, you get mad every time you hit a pothole. And a prime example is Allen Road, the quarter of a mile that was redone. I had a pothole coming here today because we are constantly throwing good money after bad and finding Band-Aid solutions instead of properly addressing those issues. Public safety. Public safety is a huge concern. Every day, if you get the Journal-Star, there is a new shooting in the paper. And so it's something that we need to address, and we need to have the police officer experience on the deficits that we have in supporting our police officers and making sure that they have all of the things that they need. And growing and retaining businesses. We know that businesses prioritize safety and low taxes when they're looking for somewhere to locate. At this point, I've talked to so many business owners and I've talked to some national franchises as well, looking at what it is that they look at when they're looking to come to an area. And candidly, Bloomington and Peoria aren't really all that different. And Bloomington is the place that they're choosing over Peoria.
Andre.
So there's a lot of priorities, but to narrow it down to three, I would begin first, strong neighborhoods. We have to ensure that our neighborhoods remain desirable, our constituents in our neighborhoods feel safe, and that's something that I've prided myself on in my initial term on the city council. We've allocated $110,000 for neighborhood meeting grants, really fostering beautification efforts and social connectedness within our neighborhoods. Next is modern infrastructure. We've got to continue to keep improving our roads. The roads are expensive. It's very expensive to do roads. To do a full-blown reconstruction of a city block is $1 million. And there's only so many revenue generators to improve those roads. And so we've got to be very creative to ensure that you all have the services. Economic development would be the third priority as well, to ensure that our businesses feel supported. We've done that in my first term. We've allocated over $323,000 of business grants to businesses specifically in District 4 that have been able to utilize those funds for commercial renovation and operational costs and things of that nature, really demonstrating our commitment and support of them. And so those would be the three priorities. And then if I could throw a bonus, since I still got a few seconds left, public safety, honestly, because again, like I said earlier, statistically crime is down, but if you don't feel it, if you don't feel safe, then it doesn't matter. And so we've got to continue to keep empowering our neighborhoods, supporting our police, and making sure that every resident in District 4 and beyond feels safe. Thank you.
Dennis.
Thank you. A minute and a half to talk about our problem is not enough time, so I'm going to try to talk about all 30 seconds. But it's really, we need a lot deeper conversation to come up with a solution. Obviously, I talked earlier about we have 34 homeowner associations in the 5th District. I have a relationship with all of them. Most of them presidents are supporting me. I've done a great job for them. Just last year alone, I was able to help with $100,000 in grants, to $5,000 to 20 different homeowner associations. That's just one way I've helped with family last year. Obviously, they want safety. Everyone wants safety in Peoria. Andre talked about murder last week. I mean, whose fault is it? Okay, I mean, we know the problem, but what's the solution? To me, really, is go back to family values. It's important, good job, and good education. In this 5th District in Peoria, obviously, it's not my fault, but if you look at the makeup of the 5th District, we've got a lot of families in the 5th District. We've got a lot of people with good education, we've got a lot of people with good jobs, and the crime rate in the 5th District is very low because, in my opinion, because of that. Then we move into growth the city. As I talk about, I mean, we have Maui Gym. Okay, I don't have enough time, but I have 2 TIF districts, one in Allen Road to grow businesses, and we have a TIF district on Galena Road also to grow business over there with Natural Fiber Welding Company. So these are just 2 examples that things are going great. I always tell people in the public setting like this that the 5th District is the engine for the city of Peoria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we've talked a bit about citywide issues, but you're district council people. So kind of shifting a little bit, I want to ask you, what is the most critical issue in your district and what is your plan to improve that? Okay, this time we start with Jamie.
Thank you for this question. The most critical issue in our district, when you look at the 4th district and the shopping centers that the 4th district encompasses, relationships with our businesses is our #1 issue, and knowing what they need and why they need it and the struggles that they're facing. I've had a lot of conversations, and especially when you're talking about the shops at Grand Prairie and Northwoods Mall, there's a lot of difficulty attracting nationwide retailers, which we know, are big economic drivers for us. And so one of the things that we really need to do is have a city council person that fights for the portion of the budget that funds the 4th district. In the budget that was approved in October, the 4th district is getting 5% of the budget. And I have those numbers if anybody ever wants to have that conversation. But the 4th district is getting significantly lower budget than the other districts. And for being one of the districts that pays the most in property taxes and also generates the highest amount of sales tax revenue for the city, I find that really concerning. And I plan to fight to change that, obviously.
Andre?
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Sure. We're focusing now on the 4th district. What's the most critical issue in your district, and what's your plan? How will you use your power in office to accomplish change?
Well, I'll focus on modernizing our infrastructure in the 4th district, and that is something that is extremely important. During my initial term, we improved Orange Prairie Road, we improved Allen Road, we improved Glen Avenue, which was in the 4th district before the redistricting took place in 2022. But now we have to focus on our residential neighborhoods. We do a pavement preservation project every year where our traffic engineering department goes around and they audit our residential roads. And we've got to really work on improving our residential roads. And when I was knocking on doors this past weekend and neighbors are telling me, man, I haven't seen public works out here in 10 years, what's going on? That's a problem. We have to empower our neighborhoods to report those issues, whether that's through the Peoria Cares Act, so that way they can see those road improvements coming to the residential neighborhoods. One of the things that will remain a priority for me going into my next term is Reservoir Boulevard. It needs a full-blown reconstruction. That's a cost of about $4 million. We were fortunate to be able to put in that engineering cost in the 2025 budget, a little over $300,000, and then we're looking at external funding to kick off that reconstruction in 2027. I am prideful about what we did on reservoirs. We did implement a crosswalk on Reservoir Boulevard, especially to service those with varying abilities that reside in Sterling Towers and others who may have to take a wheelchair or a mobile device in order to get to the Krogers on Sterling or other neighborhood resources. And so we'll continue to keep focused on our roads. We'll continue to keep filling the potholes. We'll continue to make sure that we have drivable services in District 4. Thank you.
Dennis?
Thank you. Obviously, roads is what some of the biggest problem around the city, and it's same in the 5th district. A lot of the complaints are always about roads, especially for the amount of property taxes we pay. Well, the problem is the city of Peoria is responsible for 1,100 linear miles of roads. Like Andre just said, it costs about $1 million to fix some of these roads, $3 million to repair them. We're looking at $2.5 billion if you do the math. We will never have that money. So what do we do until then? If it ever happened. Well, every 3 years we hire this company out of Atlanta. They come over here with trucks. They have technology underneath the truck. They drive all the miles in Peoria and they grade all the roads from 0 to 100. 50 to 100, we need to fix them. 50 or less, we need to completely replace them. Okay, so that's the process. And then on top of that is why we don't, some of the 50 or less, why don't we replace them? Because after that has to do with traffic count. Okay, in my neighborhood, my neighborhood road needs to be replaced, but there was only 25 homes in my neighborhood. So all of us are paying a price because, traffic count, 25 homes, we're not going to put $3 or $4 million on the road for 25 homes. It's just unfortunate, that's the way it is. In my district, though, as I said earlier, Pioneer Parkway is important, it's been redone right now. Allen Road was redone. At some of the major intersections were redone, some sidewalk. And we got into the neighborhood and fixed a lot of sidewalk and roads also. But there's just not enough money to do everything. We'll never have $2 billion. So unfortunately, we have to, this is the system that we have. And thank you very much.
I have been talking a lot to people in my neighborhood and knocking on doors and just communicating. And some of the things their top priorities. Safety is one. And the issues in District 5 are, you can consider them nuisance type safety, people breaking into cars, and I tell you, many people pointed to that thing, and these things are jarring. So they come to the district because it's safe and they want to keep it safe. And I plan to work with HOAs and connect them to the police and make sure that we have solutions and we have quick services. The other thing is all the business owners. They want less red tape. They want low barriers to business. They want to have support of the city to grow and thrive. Also, District 3 has a lot of professionals who work in large companies. We need to keep those companies thriving. We need to start moving to manufacturing economy, which can use a lot of the talent that we have, a lot of the engineers and experts that we have. So these three seem to be the top priorities of District 5. Roads, I want to say roads, snow removal comes up so often as well. Pavements and sidewalks. So we need to keep focusing on these. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next question, posed by one of our people here today. Homeowners are burdened by high property tax. Large employers or nonprofit medical centers who use services but don't pay property taxes. Would you be open to having nonprofits pay payment in lieu of taxes, as they do in Columbus, Ohio? And I believe, Andre, you're first.
So I understand where our homeowners are coming from when we get our tax bill. My wife is like, why is this going up? And then you look at the tax bill and you see all the different taxing bodies that you're paying into. But that's the city of Peoria, the county of Peoria, Peoria Public Schools, the Park District. Everybody's got their hand in there, and it's unfortunate. But that is the mechanism that we utilize to provide a lot of basic core services within our society. When it comes to entertaining other options to provide some property tax relief, currently the state of Illinois is looking at a potential bill that will implement a study to look at other options for generating revenue besides property taxes. Hopefully that moves forward, because we really need to consider that, because it puts the burden on us as taxpayers. One of the things that the city of Peoria did prior to me getting on the city council that we still have implemented, that I'm sure you all love paying into, is the stormwater utility fee that helps fund an unfunded mandate that we have through the EPA. The reason why it's a fee is because then that allows that everyone pays into it. If it was a tax, our not-for-profits would be tax exempt and they wouldn't be paying into that process. So we definitely are open to the conversation. I think we need to see what is legal before we make any considerations, but I'm always open to any opportunity and discussion to try to provide some relief to our citizens. Thank you.
Dennis.
Thank you. Great explanation, Andre. I obviously, when you've been around as long as I have, you understand these numbers. Again, everybody's invited to my table. I'm open to any discussion about that, but like he said, I mean, not-for-profit, one way to be fair, instead of having taxes, sometimes you need a fee. I think OSF and the hospital have done an incredible job trying to replace or be the leaders in our community. Obviously, it's hard when they don't pay any real estate taxes, but they are paying fees like everybody else. And one thing that has to be part of the conversation, you know, like hospital are employing thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have good jobs and good pay. And these people do pay sales tax, and those people do pay real estate taxes. So they're generating revenue. It's indirect revenue from hospital or non-for-profit, same thing with churches. But no, they're paying their fees and they're creating a lot of jobs, which is important for me anyway. It's important that I be very thankful, because I don't want anybody to leave. I don't want not-for-profit. We need some. I mean, can you imagine Peoria without the hospital business? It'd be incredible. I mean, to me, is anything below I-80, we need to actually embrace the medical community, because that's the next way for us, I believe, in Peoria to really grow Peoria. If we can embrace them and bring manufacturing, a lot of the things that they use for hospital, it'd be great. So definitely my chairs, my table is open for any of the discussion, but obviously we need to look at both sides of the discussion. Thank you.
Hind.
I think we need to separate also sometimes the perception from the actual data and reality. True, we do have high taxes, and true, we have to have fairness where businesses, I know that the hospitals and medical establishment is not necessarily a business, but they pay a fee, so it's not totally it's tax-free, but there is another way that they are contributing to the economy and to Peoria. So we need, I always believe in constant review of what we have, bringing all the stakeholders to the table. Let's discuss what are the opportunities, and we go to fees. Fees are a very smart way also to bring more revenue. And as I said earlier, that we need to expand the tax base, not just homeowners tax. And we need to consider also that these businesses, when they come to Peoria, not businesses, services, when they come to Peoria, they bring all the residents also with all the opportunities that they bring to Peoria. So I am for constant review of what we have, improving on what we have, keeping what works, changing what doesn't work. Thank you.
Jamie.
What a question, and it's something that I can't really tap dance around my next statement, but how sad is it that we are sitting in the situation that we're talking about how we can, essentially tax nonprofits even more because our taxes are so high, and that's the point that we're at. And so that's really concerning to me. I've worked in non-for-profit for a decade plus, and I can tell you, although it was not a hospital, those are shoestring budgets, and it's really, really hard. And so adding fees, yeah, it is an easy way to create more revenue. But raise your hand if you're excited about paying your stormwater utility fee every year. And as somebody who owns a residential property and a commercial property for businesses, talk about Peoria, death by 1,000 cuts. And we wonder why people are leaving. And so, but all that said, that's the situation that we're in. And so dealing in reality, that's a conversation that I think has to be had, and a creative solution that might help us move forward. So something that I don't like to sit at a table with bobbleheads and people are like, yeah, we should do that. I love that conversation. And I definitely think getting non-for-profits and those stakeholders in the room to see how we could kind of find some creative solutions, I think is a good idea. So something that I would certainly be open to, but certainly wish that we were in a different situation.
Thank you all. Okay, we've had infrastructure come up repeatedly in everybody's conversation. So the next question, and we start with Dennis, I believe this time, is how much of the city's revenue comes from the federal government, and what is Peoria going to do if it's stopped?
Well, that's a good question that nobody knows about the future, but obviously a few meetings ago, we were talking about if Mr. Trump would have stopped revenues to Peoria or grants or whatever they call them. We were talking about $32 million that was going to be the hit for Peoria. So I have to say that right now, it's very important that you understand that Peoria right now, okay, we're in the best financial situation that we've ever been. Okay, especially in the last 8 years. Okay, we have a budget 4 years ago at $225 million. That's grown to $335 million because all the stimulus money from the federal. This year we're down to $285 million. And as long as we live within our revenue, and our means, I think we're going to be okay. In my personal opinion, though, that if you take 225 and use the inflation rate the last so many years, last 4 years really, we should be around $250 million instead of 235. So we still have room to bring down our expenses. But right now, as long as we live within our means, we're going to be okay. And if you want to study the budget for the city of Peoria, usually before COVID, it was 60% of our expenses was to operation, 20% it was for our debt, and 20% for capital improvements. 60, 20, 20. Okay, it's been about more like 40, and 20 the last couple of years because of this infusion of cash from the stimulus packages. So we need to learn all these facts. Thank you.
Hind?
Yes. I'm looking actually at the budget numbers here, and certainly the biggest budget input are the local sources. The property tax levy is the highest, but we get some funding also from federal sources. It's not big. I mean, as I look at the numbers, the percent that we get from the federal government is a small percent, relatively small percent, compared to the other sources that we get locally. You know, we have to be ready. I believe really that we have to be always looking way down the road, not just today. As we are solving our today issue, we need to keep looking down the road. And the more we increase our tax base, the better we will feel that even if we lose some of the federal, and I hope we don't, we can still survive with the budget that we have. Building efficiencies into what we spend also is critical, and keep reviewing our projects. Thank you.
Jamie?
Federal money is always fantastic to have, but again, as I've mentioned earlier, my life in nonprofit, I've learned the hard way that it's always going to be soft money. So it's great to have, but when you build an infrastructure that is constantly reliable on that, that's a really dangerous situation for us. So I do think that the city needs to be prepared for that money to go away at any time, which is a really, really scary thing. And the best way that we can do that is spend our tax dollars wisely and budget and to grow that economy. And so the American Rescue Plan Act money was great, but we know that that is now gone. And we know that we have a lot of budget shortfalls coming up. One of those being our public safety pension, fully funded by 2040, funded by 90%. And so that's something that we've kicked the can down the road so far on, that we're gonna be in a crippling crisis pretty soon if that issue is not addressed. So I think that the city council needs to stop chasing shiny objects, again, and to get back to basics and improve our infrastructure in the best way that we know how, and by serving our taxpayers, neighborhoods, and residents.
Andre?
So yeah, we had a presentation when action was coming out of Washington about how this would impact us, and a little over $30 million of our 2025 budget was federally allocated. These were funds that were approved by Congress in Q4 of 2024. So when local municipalities were passing their budgets, being responsible, they were counting on these funds because they had been approved. It's not like we have wrote a check and we didn't have the money to clear it. We were told that we were getting these funds. And so, and these funds, these are for road projects. These funds are for the grants that our community development gets through its process. And we pass those funds on to you all. These are your tax dollars that you pay into. And so, yes, this is very important. When we look at what impact this may have right now, we are in a little bit of uncertainty. And so we will have to look at what mechanisms we have to continue to fill the hole if we do not get this entire lump sum of a little over $32 million. Will we have to take some of those funds out of our general fund? Do we have to look at our reserves? And what type of impact will that have on basic core services that you all rely on as our constituents? So it is it's very scary. I'll be honest with you. Had we had this notice back in Q3 of 24, we could have properly prepared. And so that's why it's very important that you can't just do a blanket size action and not think that municipalities who ultimately feel the brunt of these actions are going to be able to maneuver. But we're in this strong financial shape. We have a finance team, the city manager, who will give us the actions we need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, the time is going quickly. Apparently, we only have time for one more question. And I'm sorry, because there are a lot of good questions up here. But it appears our crowd mostly wants to follow the money. So, which is always a good, ask any reporter you've ever met in your life. It's always a good way to figure out what's going on. So, I believe this next time we start with Hind. And the question here, a significant part of taxes is allocated to covering pensions for first responders, leaving very little revenue for the city of Peoria to work with. The private sector has restructured and changed pension and retirement plans for active employees. When will the city council work with other Illinois cities and the state to address this pension issue?
I can tell you that the pension issue comes up in any discussion with the city council. And they are trying, one of the things that they are trying to do is at least extend the deadline from 2040 to 2050, so that gives us a cushion to build the funds into it and have the funds there. Now, one of the things that I keep thinking about is that we have had before very effective and smart solutions. If you recall, the landfill issue was almost a huge issue that was with almost no solution, and everybody started to panic. But then they brought the right stakeholders to the table. They sat down, they had the difficult conversations, and they came up with a brilliant solution. And I think we need to keep working with all the stakeholders, those civil services, as well as the city manager, as well as the experts in the finances, and see, can we come up with a solution other than just extending the time to 2015? Because these are civil services and they deserve the money that's coming to them, but also the city is liable to all the residents and liable to the to making the life and the services for the residents actually work for them. Thank you.
Jamie.
Great question. I mentioned the pension issue in my last response, but I think this needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. And I think when we think about 2040 or even 2050, I go, that's really far in the future. And so we've kicked the can down the road so far that we're always trying to either it's making it somebody else's problem or the next city council or whatever that may be. But the time to have that conversation is now. And certainly for our public servants. You know, my grandfather was a firefighter and reliant on that pension when he retired. And my conversations with the firefighters, they're also working on their end to find some different solutions because we want to make sure that they get what they are promised, especially for the hard, difficult work that they do for our community. And so it's going to involve state legislature as well. And we're kind of in this situation of the states like, oh, let the cities handle it. And the cities are like, we can't, you have to handle it. So it's kind of this back and forth ping pong ball that we need to get everybody together and find a logical, practical solution that's going to make sure that those public servants are taken care of, but that also that we're not crippling our municipal budget.
Andre.
So municipalities across the state are wrestling with this issue of the state unfunded mandate. The city of Peoria, we've been able to make our payments and actually overpay during this last 4 years. That allowed us to sunset the public pension parcel fee that was implemented prior to me getting on the city council, and we sunsetted that, I believe, in 2021. So we're in a better place with our pension obligation, but it has to be fully funded by 2040 to the amount of $366 million. And we cannot cut our way out of this. We have to do our best to manage it, but we have to worry about what we can control. We cannot rely on Springfield to extend the ramp. What can Peoria do? And some of the options that I'm looking into is right now we have about an annual debt service of $23 million for bonds that we pay to the Pierre Marquette fiasco, bonds that we pay to the Civic Center. Some of those things are going to be coming off the books in the near future. 2028, for example, the bonds come off for the Civic Center, and we'll be able to reallocate that debt service towards our pension obligation. That will provide us with some relief. Another example that I saw what the city of Kankakee recently did, they took advantage of the market and they issued bonds to fully fund their pension obligations to 2040. Now they have a fixed rate that they can budget annually towards their pension obligation. And that might be something that the city has to ultimately investigate, because again, this is a gorilla that is on all municipalities' back. We can't rely on Springfield to help us out. We've got to control this ourselves. Thank you.
Dennis.
Thank you very much. I've been a financial advisor for 29 years. That's one of my favorite subjects, and a minute and a half is not long enough to explain to you what's going on there, but I can tell you that, number one, we have to understand that the party is in Springfield, and they send us the bill to Peoria, Illinois, okay? The party's over there, they send us the bill, and we have to pay the bill. We have no say whatsoever on the council of what's going on with the pension. There's a lot of solution, a lot of ways that the people in Springfield could help all the cities, including Peoria. They could help us with some solution if they want to, okay? But all of us, we have to get on the phone and call our elected official at the state level and ask for help, okay? There's a lot of solution for us in Peoria, okay? Every year, our payments going up and up and up, about $38 million this payment this year, okay? And it's gonna go up, eventually it's gonna be 100%. 100% our general fund will have to go if there's no changes. So we need to have some changes. And the changes need to really come, in my opinion, the next 8 years. By 2033, if we don't have any changes, we're gonna be in big trouble. And we're gonna have to look at bonds, taking on more debt to pay for our obligation. So we need to, and pray for changes at the state level so that our people right here in Peoria can go on with their life and not to pay. But I'm always against getting new debt on the books to pay for those obligations. And that's the terrible situation. But that's the only way, like Andre said, you're gonna need to flatten out your responsibility eventually. And 3033 is the deadline as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay. This is going quickly, thank you all. So it's time for closing statements, 1 minute each, okay? And as it happens, Jamie starts first.
Peoria is built on hardworking people, innovative businesses, and a community that cares. The potential is here. We just need leadership that knows how to unlock it. We need to take a proactive approach, and that's exactly what I've done in business, and that's exactly what I'll do for Peoria. When I bought my first franchise, I had less than $200 in the bank and a baby on my hip, but I didn't wait for somebody else to fix things. I got to work, and I grew that business by 525%. And I now mentor other businesses to have that same kind of growth. This is the kind of real leadership and results-driven mindset Peoria needs right now. I plan to roll up my sleeves and get to work by building a stronger economy, building safer streets, and using no-nonsense leadership. Peoria doesn't need more politicians looking for photo opportunities. We need a proactive leader who gets things done. I humbly request your vote for City Councilwoman. Let's build a safer, stronger, more prosperous city together.
Thank you very much. Andre.
Thank you so much to the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria and the United Presbyterian Church for the hospitality and the opportunity to elaborate on my candidacy. We've had a solid 4 years. We've had balanced budgets, no new taxes, no new fees. We've invested in our neighborhoods. We've invested in our businesses. We've brought new businesses to the district. We've made advances in public safety, and we will continue to keep moving forward. And that's what my platform is about. My candidacy is about leadership, experience, and engagement. And that's what I've done the last 4 years. You can't run a city like a business. We're just on a conveyor belt. We are people. And you have to have that accessibility to people. You have to know what they're feeling. And that's what I pride myself in doing. My best ability has been my availability to my constituents, to the District 4 and beyond, and it will continue to do that. Please visit my website, Allen for Peoria, if you would like to look for ways to get involved in the campaign. Early voting starts March 17th with Election Day, April 1st. Vote for Allen, #1 on the ballot. Thank you.
Dennis.
Thank you very much again to League of Women Voters. This is a great forum, a lot of great questions. And for me, I have an 8-year track record. I love to serve my community. I'm asking my constituents to give me an opportunity to serve 4 more years. And just look at my track record. Please you don't have to believe me or listen to me. Just look at all the people that have endorsed me in the 5th District, from businesses to churches to HOA president to school. Small businesses, BizPac. It's been a great journey for me the last 8 years. I'm very proud to have served my community, and I'm hoping I can serve 4 more years. So I'm asking for your vote on April 1st. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Andy?
Time really flew. So thank you for the league, and thank you all for your questions and your engagement. We do have some big issues for the city, and these will require creative solutions through genuine and respectful collaboration. I hope I have earned your vote. I can't wait to start collaborating with stakeholders to create the safe and healthy environment that we all deserve, and to catalyze the culture of learning, innovation, and growth that will attract and retain talent, individual and businesses. I want to say, if elected, my motto is listening, acting, delivering. And I do promise always to seek the community voice so that no policy decisions that affect you are made without you. I will be also a full-time representative. Thank you all.
Thank you. And now you may applaud. Appreciate that. Connie, do you have any last words?
I just want to thank all of you who have come out for the candidate forum today, especially the candidates. And I want to thank the United Presbyterian Church and Reverend Avery for allowing for us to use their space. And again, get out and vote from now until April 1st. Thank you very much.